Ta-da!
So how do I start this?
Well,
first of all, let's start the video. Hi, I'm Zach. I'm driving a 1929 Unrestored Model A from Paul Shin.
Yeah, hi.
We're not doing like a full review on this car because this car is so special and unique that I feel like my review format isn't quite... It wouldn't show the majesty of this car. So I am going to drive it a little bit just to say I've done it. Completely unrestored Model A, and then throughout the rest of the video we'll talk about that. But let's get the driving portion out of the way.
Great. It starts like any Model A, so the spark advance is all the way up. Pull the throttle lever down just a couple of little notches there. That's good. All right, turn the key on. That's a pop-out switch, so turn it, pops out. Now stick your foot way up in there and hit the starter button way up. You don't just put it in neutral.
Just want to make sure it's in neutral.
Yeah, hit the starter. It should start. There you go. Okay. Now pull the spark advance down about halfway or a little over halfway and drive the car. Ta-da! Well, when we get going, you can pull the spark advance down more.
Okay.
And that's it. Ta-da! It drives just like yours, except different. It's exactly the same, but different.
It's very helpful, Paul. Thanks.
Yeah, sure.
It already drives nicer than my car, and this is unrestored. This is some bogus.
Well, your car has more miles on it.
That is true.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, we'll say that for the camera. But it's super cool to be driving something that is unrestored. And we'll get into the story of this thing later, but it's just, this is exactly how it came out of the factory, what, 93 years ago?
Yep, 93 years old.
Oh, your brakes work nice too. What is this?
Your brakes don't work good?
I mean, you know, they stop. That's what they're supposed to do, right? Yeah, so they work.
You suggest a stop and then it does?
My rule of thumb is that if I can see the stop sign, I start stopping.
Yeah, hang a left. You can see the road up there on the right?
Yep.
There you go. Just hang a left. There you go.
No, there it is.
There it is.
But did we slow down too much?
A little bit, that's all right. Just leave it in second.
Okay.
When you get to the top of the hill, and grab third and drive it like you stole it. Or like I always say, drive it like you know how to fix it.
That's a good one. So the name of the game with these is really torque. We were talking about that earlier. Is that the torque in these cars is insane. How much did you say the rotating assembly weighs?
The whole rotating assembly weighs 90 pounds.
Oh my gosh. So that's where it's generating all of its torque. It's a 3.3 liter, which works out to a 200 and something cubic inch.
200.1 or something cubic inches, yeah. Grab third and just... Nice. Drive it like you know how to fix it.
You said don't slow down for these bumps.
No, just go. You don't have to slow
down.
down.
All right, ready?
Yep, go. There you go, see? Piece of cake. It's a Model A. You don't slow down for speed bumps. That's an insult.
But really, you have to think of these as a glorified tractor, which I think is funny. Because really, we were talking about the engine is the same as the tractors.
It's the same
thing.
Of
the Ford Air, because Ford was actually making tractors at this time. I don't think they still do.
I don't think so.
I didn't slow down for that one.
No, you did well. You did well.
I'm learning.
No, the Ford tractors, I think, I mean, they were almost identical. There was very few differences.
Yeah.
And the difference mainly in this is the rear end gear ratio, so you can go faster.
How fast will it go? Should we see?
I've had it up to 55.
This thing actually does cruise very, very happy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It has no trouble cruising along.
It's as happy as a clam. I like this thing.
Now, how many car reviews have you done?
This is up in the 850s.
Okay, 850 car reviews.
Somewhere in there. I lost track because on this trip. I left at like 844. That might actually be up in the 860s by now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, you've driven way more cars than anybody I've ever met. So obviously I'm going to ask you this dumb question, but I sincerely mean this. What is the best car, your favorite car that you've driven?
I mean, it's hard to say just because it's a lot of circumstance, right?
Yeah.
My favorite review I always hover towards, it was a 1993 Nissan Skyline. I had it, it was at sunset on a mountain road. It was a turbocharged manual sports car. It was lovely, absolutely lovely. But I mean, an experience like this has got to be one of my favorite videos I've done. I'm in California. It's a light breeze.
Yeah.
I'm driving this awesome unrestored vehicle.
And no stress.
No stress.
No.
A little bit of stress.
No
a little bit of stress. A lot of stress. But no, it's cool experiences like this that got me into doing this. And we'll pull over at the next parking lot and we'll switch, and you can actually tell me more about this car while I'm focused on not doing anything mean to it.
You expect me to talk and drive?
Yeah, why not? I thought you were a YouTuber.
I'm not nearly the YouTuber you are. You got way more experience. You put out, 10 times the videos I have. Easily.
Yeah, it's a lot. I don't enjoy having free time, apparently, so I just do YouTube.
Well, that's your full-time job.
Yeah.
So this is all you do.
Uh-huh.
So every waking moment you spend figuring out what the next video is going to be, how your thumbnail's going to look.
Right.
All your description's going to be.
Unless I'm with my girlfriend. That is the only time where I'm actually not actively thinking about YouTube.
Very smart.
And I'll be honest, sometimes there is crossover. I'll be honest. But
we won't tell her that.
yeah, it's not too often.
Yeah, not too often. Now imagine this, Zach. So when this car was brand new, people that bought this car, probably close to half of them, let's say, had never even driven a car before in their life.
Yeah.
Okay, and they learned how to drive just fine. Aren't you smarter than at least half of them?
You would think, but there are some days, I don't know, man. But no, this car drives so well, and it's really cool to be driving something that's truly a part of history.
Yeah.
And a part of your history, too.
Yep, been in the family. It's like kind of like all the memories attached to this, not just my own, but people before me, my dad, everybody.
Yeah.
My wife and I have been, every year we have a tradition where we decorate one of the Model A's in Christmas lights, then drive around and look at Christmas lights. And then one year it was a real dry Christmas, because I don't take this thing out when it's wet. And it was a real dry Christmas, and I thought, it'd be fun. Let's take the four-door. We decorated this car, took it out. Best Christmas lights drive ever. We had so much fun. We had blankets on our laps and hot cocoa in our thermos, and we just had the best time. I never wanted that night to end.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
so awesome.
I'm sure.
Yeah, so there's all these little memories we have with this car. There's times like when we took it to concours, and best 3 days of my life: the day I accepted Christ, the day I got married to Tina, and the day this car won twice at concours. 3 best days of my life. And that was just such an amazing trip, and that day, and everybody got to share in that. I don't know. There's all the memories that we make with our cars, but sometimes the car just makes special memories. They're different.
And I have to say that this, at least for me, this is a new memory with it. Just cruising through California, a state that's 2,000 miles away from my home, in a beautiful, unrestored Model A.
I wish Gary was here.
Yeah, I wish my dad was here too. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Gary.
I know he's bummed he couldn't make it out here.
He's so nice.
He's great. He's the best. He's honestly the best dad ever. He supports me. We also think very much alike. Yeah. My dad and I are like virtually the same person. I think I'm a little bit more social than he is, but other than that, that's kind of...
Does he like rotary engines as much as you?
Well, so he had an RX-7 before I was born.
Oh,
that's why I got an RX-7, because I grew up and he had all these pictures. And the funny story is, he drove his RX-7 out to California.
Oh.
So now I didn't drive my RX-7 out here, but I drove my Mazda.
There you
so
go.
I'm like kind of continuing that tradition of Pradle boys driving their Mazdas across the desert alone.
Very nice.
So it was fun. Yeah, but he was into the rotary, and he also blew up a rotary engine when he was about my age. So yeah, the blood runs deep, as they say.
You were trying to talk me into getting a rotary pickup. I did start looking, and then I saw the prices, and I went, eh.
Yeah, it's a big deterrent for a lot of people, is the prices of the rotaries.
Especially people like me. I'm not a rich man, so,
You're rich in spirit.
Yeah.
And you're rich in culture, too. We were chatting earlier. So
That's right.
Let's pull over. Let's swap seats, and we'll talk more about this Model A. Okay. How about that? Does that sound good?
Sure.
Cool. All right, so now Paul is driving, the rightful driver. I have my microphone.
You have taken your life into my hands.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but here we go. So tell us about the history of this car.
Well, this car was purchased new near San Luis Obispo in 1929, in September of 1929 to be specific. And the first owner of this car was a dentist who made house calls, and he wanted a newer car to make the house calls. So we all know what happened a month later in 1929, stock market crash, Great Depression. They thought, you know what, it doesn't really give the right impression of us driving a brand new car, so they parked it. And it stayed parked for many years. So the Depression towards the end of the 1930s, beginning 1940s, things were picking up. People were getting dentistry work done again, and he decided to get a 1940 Ford, a brand new one. So this car didn't get driven very much at all. It sat again more. Fast forward through the years, it kind of got driven here and there, a little bit forgotten. After World War II, it came out of the garage and was driven quite a bit. That's where most of the miles came from. It was a family car and driven almost every day in the late 40s, early 50s. In fact, the dent on the roof that you mentioned earlier came from a Christmas tree cutting accident in 1949.
I love that dent so much. That dent predates the space shuttle.
It does, yes.
That dent.
That's 20
so
years
cool
before the space shuttle.
Yeah.
So, the Christmas tree hit the car, fell on the ground. So it's like, I can't fix it. It's part of the car's history, right?
Yeah.
Plus the factory paint. I don't want to disturb the factory paint and all that.
Which
Anyway,
I love the patina on this car.
Isn't
It's
it?
so cool and so... I mean, so how unrestored is this car?
Well, it's got the factory paint, factory interior, although everything's totally factory. The only thing I've done to it besides regular, routine maintenance, obviously belts and hoses, tires, tubes, that kind of stuff, is I had to have the engine rebuilt. And I did that 3 or 4 years ago, whatever, because the Babbitt bearings in the engine splattered one day. I was driving home from my dad's, and the car never vibrated, never made any noise or anything. Then all of a sudden, it started vibrating, and I went, oh, something's wrong. I just shut it off and coasted to the side of the road. Had it towed home on the metallic magic carpet. Got it home, dropped the pan, and it was just the Babbitt had totally come loose. So then you got to make a decision. You say, okay, well, it's a totally original car. Now, do I just leave it broken so it's all original, or do you fix it and still enjoy the car? So I made the decision to go ahead and have the original motor rebuilt.
So it is the original motor.
Original
it's just,
motor, right.
What did they end up, like rings and stuff like that, or like?
Well, so what happens when an engine wears, the cylinder walls wear, you get a little bit of a ridge at the top where the rings stop on the upstroke of the piston. There's always a little ridge there. So in order to get rid of that, you have to bore the cylinders a little larger, which means you put larger pistons, larger rings. So I had to do that because there was a ridge there and it wasn't going to be that much longer before it was going to happen again. So I bored it out, went 40 over, so it's got 40 over. I still have all the original parts, but it's got 40 over pistons, and then we put insert bearings in the engine. But it's the same engine, same cam, same valves, everything's the same, new timing gear, new clutch. Other than that, it's the same engine. It's just a maintenance thing. That's
and
how
I mean, look at how it's running now.
It runs great, yeah.
It runs fantastic, and that's the coolest thing about it is just that this is like my Model A. My Model A, it's like, we always tell people it's like pretty much what it was like when it came out.
Yeah.
Like, in theory, because like our car has been like changed, and I learned today that our door handles are not the factory door handles, apparently.
Sorry.
That's okay. But this is actually exactly what the experience was 93 years ago.
This was it,
which is super cool. Speaking of which, do you know what was like the more rare body style? I feel like four-door is rarer.
Well, no, actually the four-doors are not rare. I mean, there's real rare body styles like the panel deliveries and, the real oddball stuff.
Oh, and the mail truck.
The mail truck.
The mail truck.
Yeah.
I saw. Did you own that one, or
we
were
own
you
it.
just filming?
No, we own it.
You
That's
have
ours.
it?
Yes. Yes.
I didn't know if you borrowed it, like the Model T video.
That's my dad's.
That thing is so cool because I just filmed a '73 Postal Jeep.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It
cool.
hasn't come out yet. Well, at the time of this filming, it hasn't come out yet.
Tina wants one of those so bad.
They're really cool.
Are they?
They're really, really cool. They're dog slow.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I
I
mean,
bet.
but it's a right-hand drive American vehicle.
Sure.
It's cool. It's fun.
And it'll get you from this mailbox to that mailbox.
Barely.
Yeah.
It has an AMC straight 6, which actually
That's cool.
ended up,
That's
you know the Jeep 4 liters
Yeah.
that are like indestructible?
Right.
It has the predecessor to that. It's a 3.8. So it's a pretty indestructible motor.
I wonder if it eats up rear main seals as fast.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. But yeah, so because I feel like I rarely see the 4 doors of these.
Well, the 4 doors aren't all that rare, but keep in mind the 4 door was $100 more than a 2-door sedan.
Oh wow, which
So,
at that time was a huge price difference.
Yeah, $495 versus $595. So a 2-door sedan also, you can throw the kids in the back, they can't get out because there's no doors back there.
That's good. You gotta
4-door,
keep those kids in line.
Yeah, keep those kids in line. I'll turn this car around right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, somebody who owned a 2-door invented that phrase.
Right. Yeah.
So the 2-door being $100 less, 1/3 of all the Model A production was 2-door sedans. It was by far the most popular body style.
It's the one I see the most, besides maybe the 2-door Roadster.
Yeah, there's a lot of those around. The Roadster was the least expensive car, oddly enough. It's one of the most expensive now.
It's less metal, technically.
It's less metal. No windows on the sides, you know. So that was actually the least expensive car. The 4-door sedans were kind of a pricey car, for one thing. The other thing is Ford had the bodies for the 4 doors made by 2 companies off-site, by Murray or Briggs. This is a Briggs. And the way you can tell is the top of the windows here. On a Briggs, they're flat. And on a Murray, they've got a little bit of a curve to them.
Oh, I think mine's a Murray.
Yours is a Murray, yeah. Now, the 1931 slant window 4-door sedans, those bodies were made by Briggs and Murray and Ford. So Ford started making 4-door bodies when they made the slant window. I was a little fast on that one. But anyway, so the 4-door sedans, of all the popular body styles, that was probably the 3rd or 4th, maybe.
Okay. I know there was also a Phaeton, I believe.
Yeah, which is just
and
no
the
top.
limo and.
Oh, the limos are really rare, though.
Yeah.
Those are super rare. Yeah.
And are the trucks technically Model A's or are those AAs?
Well,
what's the AA?
The AA is the 1.5 ton truck.
Oh,
The big
okay.
ones.
That makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of different parts in an AA. There's a lot of Model A pickups. There's a ton of them. There's Roadster pickups, closed cab pickups. There's like the 66A that came out in 31 with the first fleet side pickup truck Ford ever made. I mean, there's lots of pickup trucks built on a Model A. Same frame and everything is this. The same 10-leaf rear leaf spring in the back. Everything's the same as this chassis. You could lift this body and make this a pickup truck and it would be correct. But the AA is the bigger chassis with the bigger axles, the same engine, but a 4-speed transmission. And it's not that it's got
4 speeds.
Yeah, it's not that it's got like an overdrive. It's actually slower, so it's got a granny.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's even lower than first in this.
People are staring at us.
Everybody stares at us.
Everybody stares.
Everybody stares.
That's the beauty, and at least my favorite part of the Model A is just seeing people's smiles. And like giving people the opportunity to experience something that's 90-some years old, you know? It's hard to find, well, I guess not for you, but it's hard to find like radios that even work that are 100 years old.
Oh, I got it.
Let alone seeing a car that's, you know, lasted that long.
I can't wait to take this thing out on its 100-year birthday.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be, it's only 7 years away.
I know.
Oh,
weird.
wow.
I had this thing for a long time.
What month was this manufactured again?
This is August of 1929.
I share a birth month with it.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
You know what? I think it's August 26th, I think. You have to look
Really? I'm August 28th.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, let's look at the stamp on the firewall.
We'll have to.
See, yeah.
That's how we'll end the video. But what's your favorite thing about the Model A's? What draws you to them so much?
Simple. I like the simplicity. I like that I can do everything on the car myself. So, like the modern car, like my pickup or like Tina's car, if something breaks on that, I'm hosed. I got to take it to the dealer. They got to plug the computer in, and then it's, you know, you got to write a big check and all that. Whereas with the Model A, if something happens to this, I'm totally self-sufficient. I can do whatever.
Yeah, I do love that. I love that too. And I love the fact, first of all, you drove your other one out to Texas from California.
Oh yeah, let's not.
Which,
oh gosh, I'll never do
first
that
of all,
again.
that's
Never.
insane. But second of all, I watched your video and I love the fact that you had a second carburetor tuned and just in a box ready to go.
Yeah.
So if the carb gave out, it was how many bolts?
2 bolts.
Yeah, 2 bolts.
Yeah.
Just pop it off, pop the new carb that was already tuned for the car.
Piece of cake.
Yeah, and then you're good to go.
Good to go.
So that's what I love about these cars too, is that when our car breaks, which is rare to be fair.
It is rare.
I think that trailer was old Mazda pickup truck bed made into a trailer.
I think it is.
That's funny. Whenever our car breaks, again, rare, it's like one of three things.
Yes.
So, like, we just have a very short checklist of things it could possibly be, and it's normally fixed in an afternoon, if not a weekend if we have busy plans. So
yeah, you know, the Model A also was like the first smart car. You know, I mean, think about it, because at the time, you know, and like think the late 20s, there's all these huge cars around, Duesenbergs, and
okay, yeah,
Cadillacs, all this huge cars running around. Henry Ford had the Model T, which was obviously the car that put America on wheels. So he comes out with the Model A, which is essentially the same car, but a little beefed up a little bit.
Actually has four-wheel brakes.
Four-wheel brakes, which are great. But it runs on just about any fuel. We've run them on alcohol. We've run them on
Have you personally ran them on alcohol?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do they run any different?
A little bit. You just have to adjust the gav a little bit.
Okay.
But we've run them on mixtures of diesel and gas. We've run them on all kinds of stuff. They'll run on just about anything. This car's running on gas that's 2 years old right now.
Yeah, it's basically nail polish remover at this
nail
point.
Polish remover. It smells terrible, but the car runs. It doesn't
runs.
care. It's just, hey, I'm happy. I'm running. Great.
That's the beauty of it. Last thing about fuel before we check that firewall and end this video. Do you do fuel or lead additive?
No.
Okay. I always get asked that, and we don't run lead additive either.
Oh, but you know why?
Apparently it's a debate. This is before leaded fuel.
Oh, way before leaded fuel. So
Yeah.
leaded fuels didn't come out until the mid or late 30s. So these are designed to run on unleaded fuel.
Right.
Yeah, people ask all the time, you know, what do you put for
you
additive?
have to put lead into it?
No.
I actually
don't
shaved
put
my
anything.
pencils into the gas tank. That's how I get it. Yeah, and then
No, you don't
they
do
did leaded
anything.
fuel for a while, and then they're like, hey, why does like 25% of the population have lead poisoning?
Right.
And they're like,
Yeah, well, then of course, you know, people started using alternative fuels and diesels and things like
Yeah.
that. Then they said, oh, where's this acid rain coming from? So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, there's no winning.
Let's hop out and check that plate. I want to
do
see
that.
how close it is to my birthday.
All right,
Let's
cool.
go.
Copper tubes. Wow. Factory. There's the date code right there. Can you make it out?
No. I think it's 8. I think it is 26. 8/26/29.
Man, I can't tell.
8/20. I think it is 8/26/29.
Oh, it is 26.
Look at that. That is cool. Well, huge thank you to Paul. Definitely check out his channel if you somehow haven't. If you're into Model A's, shut this video off. Don't look at my channel. Look at his, because it is just, it's amazing. Anything you want to know about Model A's, he is the walking encyclopedia. And your videos are great too. They're easy to understand and easy to consume and easy to love. So definitely go check that out. That'll be in the description, as well as he's tagged in the title too. So thank you very much for this opportunity. This was so cool to drive. Something that's not only 93 years old, but like originally 93 years old. It hasn't been changed or altered, which is so cool. Again, I can't give a big enough thank you to Paul Shin after this experience. And after we stopped filming, he actually gave me this. This is a quail that goes on the front hood ornament of the Model A. So I'm going to be putting it on my own Model A, which I think is just the coolest thing in the world. The Model A's were kind of known. Their nickname was the Quails because Henry Ford thought that they sounded like a flock of quails when they would start from a stop, which is kind of interesting. But I can't recommend Paul Shin's channel enough. Please go check him out. I'll leave it at the end of this video. And he also made his own video of the day. So some more behind the scenes actions of me filming his cars and us together. So if you want more Paul Shin and Zach Pradel content together, please go check that out. It'll be right here now. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please go check out that video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.